Hey guys, welcome to the second in the countdown to 2022 as we look back, in my opinion, at what was 5 of the most controversial, if not the controversial, things that happened this year. The first one we talked about was the semi-releases, basically where movies of all kinds were released simultaneously, not just theatrically, but also streaming-wise and stuff like that. But now we're going to talk about something else that's been controversial, I should say. And that was the reboot of Masters of the Universe Revelation. Now, I've gone on record, done various videos, live streams, if you will, talking about how I felt about the first half of Revelation. And obviously, I'm not alone in it either, because there's other people that felt the same way. But on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, I also mentioned that the second half I felt was a vast improvement. Well, not vast, but a decent improvement, C+ average and everything. Kind of building off, in my opinion, the mistakes they knew they had made with the first half. And despite how you feel about, the correction and what may or may not been done at the last second, or last minute, you could definitely tell that there was a bit of an improvement. Now, here's the thing about Revelation, though. Even with the second half, not everybody was happy with it either. Because overall, when you look at Revelation, Masters of the Universe Revelation, it was promised to be one thing, and it turned out to be something else. And not a lot of people enjoyed that. Not a lot of people got a kick out of that. They didn't care for it. They felt that it was basically taking... Well, overall, what they felt was that Netflix had taken an established IP from the 80s that a lot of people grew up on. A lot of new generation of fans were growing up on, courtesy of places like YouTube and Peacock and all these other areas, the DVDs, whatever. And using it to mainly, basically send a message of equality, of everybody is, equal. Everybody should be involved. Everybody has this. Everybody has that. And not a lot of people were cool with that. I mean, the ending basically with Tila doing what she did, becoming the new sorceress, which was predicted and projected, I should say. But the way she did it was basically, it felt like it was a betrayal in the eyes of a lot of fans because, and I've talked about this too, because I can understand where they're coming from. The sorceress was originally, most of the time, steadfast in Castle Grayskull. Only on a few occasions would she be out and about, if you will, but that was mainly due to, take care of some things that need to be taken care of. But most of the time she was in Castle Grayskull. Here, fans didn't like the fact that Tila was going to up her. Basically show, hey, I can be a better sorceress than you, Mom. And declare that not I, but we have the power. And to a lot of people, that just felt like it was the wrong move to make. The other wrong move they felt was not necessary, and heck, even Doug Walker is taking a shot at this, is the inclusion but non-inclusion of He-Man. It's like you're doing a Masters of the Universe, sequel or supposed sequel, continuation of the original Filmation series, and you don't include He-Man. You don't include him to the full extent. You don't include Skeletor to the full extent. And that just pissed a lot of people off. It just upset a lot of people. So, when it was all said and done, and along with the tease that we're going to probably get another part down the line, possibly, this probably, from a viewing perspective, from a, all new show, all new program, if you will, on anything, streaming service, networks, you name it, this will go down as probably the most controversial, pretty much not just controversial, but pretty much downright bait and switch reboot, continuation of anything of an 80s, 90s, or 70s property ever done in recent memory. Because a lot of them have come out and said, look, you know, if you're going to basically reboot, and I just hit the highlight button there if you hear anything, but a lot of people have said, if you're going to come out and reboot this, you need to do it in a way that stays true to what you're rebooting or what you're continuing, you know, with this reboot. I mean, the things that made them upset was, you know, obviously you can go around the web and you can find out yourself, because everybody's saying the same thing, was the way Tila was portrayed, you know, the way, you know, the king was portrayed. You know, they were just, it felt like it just was not necessary. I mean, Tila's character, a lot of people felt, even I said it, you know, they felt like it was an assassination of who her character was, because suddenly she wants to give up everything because, oh, you didn't tell me Adam was He-Man and vice versa and all that. And it's like, seriously? There's a reason why he didn't tell you, because you were not ready yet. I mean, if people go off of what, you know, she becomes at the end of Revelation here, mainly the time for her to find out that, hey, He-Man and Adam are one and the same is when she ascends to be the sorceress. If not, becomes the new man-at-arms, which she originally was going to be, but that got given to Andrea, who was positioned, according to a lot of people, in the first half as her potential girlfriend, because of the way they made them look, the way they had scenes come off, making it seem like there was something more than just a friendship and stuff like that, or a partnership. So, you know, overall, people just felt like Tila's character wasn't represented well, the king's character wasn't represented well, you know, and the fact that what really bugged a lot of people, and I say this with all due respect, no offense, is the reliance on the fact that, as I mentioned earlier, they were using a classic 80s, 90s, early 70s, early 2000s IP in He-Man, Masters of the Universe, to basically support the fact that we have strong females out there, that the female characters, and again, I say this with all due respect, no offense, that the female characters are just as powerful, if not more so, that they're just as capable, if not more so, than the man. And what's funny is you have a lot of female viewers that grew up in the 80s, grew up in the 90s, you know, that saw this, and they're like, this is complete BS. You didn't have to use a show like this to get a message across of this manner, if you will. All you had to do was play it, all you had to do was build it the way you were planning to build it, but not, and then go from there. Because a lot of people pointed out that these female characters like Tila and Evil Lynn and all of them were already, you know, were already their own independent women. They were already capable of taking care of themselves. But, you know, people felt that, you know, they just used this film but this series to further that message. So, in the long run, at number 4, or the fourth one I should say, the most controversial is Masters of the Universe Revelation, in my opinion. So, as we count down to 2022, what will be number 3? We'll find out next.